It feels like I'm in the center of a hurricane, trapped in the swirling cycle of rain that never stops. And my mind always goes back to that fucking day. All I hear is the sharp echo through the air. Pausing, he took a breather, and the snap of a branch that reminds me I was too late. And I just stood there, he said quietly. He felt a hand grab his and squeeze it. He looked over and saw Jess, the speaker before him. She was a single parent who lost her daughter during an accident at her daughter's school. He could see the pain in her eyes, as if it was a reflection of his own. She made her go to the school that day when she wanted to stay home and go see a movie. She had promised her that they would take a day off Saturday and go so they could. He shot her, and I just watched. Then he fell backwards in the snow, and I heard a twig snap. By the time I got there, she was just a blip falling into the ravine, taking my heart with her. He felt the hurricane turn into a rainstorm, still pouring but not as hard and violent as before. Willis and the rest of the team came to see what happened. They heard gunshots. It was me wasting all of the clips I had into the soldier's body. Jared and Willis pulled me back, trying to ask what happened, but once I was away from his body and the gun fell, I realized she was gone and never coming back. There was a puddle of blood and tears in front of me. They looked at each other, confused to all hell. Then Ollie called their attention to a branch. I watched as he held up her engagement ring. The room paid their respects in a moment of silence, something done for each speaker. He clutched his locket, the clear circle that encased the heart-shaped amethyst ring he proposed to her with. He was told that he had been drafted on the day that he proposed. He didn't want to. He didn't want to give her the hopes if, for whatever reason, he didn't come home. But she insisted, and he did. We expect to see her walking to the jet when they were leaving. Leaving his memory vault, he glanced at Jess, who was still holding his hand. He smiled slightly. He felt the clouds moving away. He knew that they would still be there, and they would be there for a long time. But they were starting to move, and the sun was starting to shine. As his favorite superhero said, some stuff you leave there, other stuff you bring back. It's our job to figure out how we carry it. Is it going to be in a big suitcase or a little man purse? I remember our wedding. We said our ideas surrounded by mud, dirt, and the faint smell of tobacco and booze. A smile appeared as he recalled the only good memory that came from the war. It was private. Only the captain and their squad was there. Dakota Willis, the white chocolate Kit Kat, officiated them, and Jensen's childhood mate Jensen was his best man. It was the obvious choice since they were inseparable since preschool. They plotted to get back someone's stolen teddy bear that was taken by the pissed-off skid who didn't get his way. The spunky peanut butter cup, Zachariah Quinton Johnson, was Amelia's man of honor, and Willis's ripped semi-sweet chocolate bar of a man gave her away. The boy who went from his mother's arms to the harshness of war, Ollie, was the ring bearer. And of course, Amelia, the one he knew was his when he first watched her trip on some tools where he worked. The wedding provided an escape from the center of hell and chaos they were in, but they still had some 9mm with them just in case anyone tried to ruin the happy moment. It seems like yesterday we were lying on my truck bed, wrapped in blankets under the starry night and a warm campfire, just talking about life and what we wanted to do with it. She wanted to go to trade school and do all sorts of things with it. He paused and took a deep breath. When we said our I do's and I love you's, I didn't think it would end. He glanced down at his clear locket, remembering how her eyes reflected how nervous she was. But her stubbornness wouldn't let her admit it. His mind flickered back to the gunshot, the snapping of the twig, and the echoing silence as he watched. He closed his eyes in hopes of escaping it, but it didn't work. It replayed in his head on loop like they used to do with their favorite songs. He felt the understanding coming from the eyes of everyone in the room. We were looking for an entrance. The team split up. Willis and Denborough, Amelia and I, and Ollie was at the radio. We were searching for a building that was reported to be abandoned, hoping to find left behind supplies and movement plans, a thing we had done many times before. I had heard a noise to my left, and before I could say anything, I felt a bullet hit my arm. Amelia took notice and tried shooting him. Ollie tried contacting us, but we were busy trying to take care of the gunman. It turned into a blur, and somehow we ended up near the cliff. His voice began to crack as he tried to say it. Then the bastard shot her! It was a quiet scream of anguish and torture that everyone in the room understood in some way, shape, or form.